Again, so much. We got the fun Dr. Spock
in the building.
Redman here, and we are at the Cannabis World Congress and Business Exposition. We have Redman. Thank you so much for being here. Could you just quickly tell them why you're here and what message you want to?
Okay, I'm here representing the National Cannabis Party. In layman terms, you have the Democratic Party, Republican Party, and now you have the first of its kind, FEC approved National Cannabis Party. And what we hear is about, we're here for the structure of the cannabis industry. We're here to hold these politicians accountable. We're here to help the communities and the cities that's been affected by WOD, war on drugs. And we're here to change the thinking process of people about social equity, because that word is such a welfare-ish word. It's like the welfare word of this cannabis industry. So we want to teach people and switch that name from social equity to equity empowerment and educate. You have to educate yourself. If you want to get in this industry, you have to educate yourself about the rules and regulations. And we want to be that umbrella. We want to bridge that gap between the people in the plant and politicians, because no matter how much we want to ignore that this industry is not political, it's political like a motherfucker. It's racial like a motherfucker. It's all the elements that any other industry have. So we want to be that umbrella. We're about the purpose, not the profit. We're not in competition with anyone far as product. We don't deal with the plant. We're not making money off the plant. We're not making money off CBD, anything. We are strictly for the purpose of this plant. And our goal one day is to put someone in the president's chair.
Yes.
That understands cannabis. Yeah, that understands cannabis. Not just anybody. They gotta understand the fabric of cannabis in this industry.
Yes, and I'm trying to extend that same message through CannabisMomBoss.com. That's a new business that I'm launching to help empower women who, especially our mothers, who are dealing with a lot of judgment and stigma. And
shout out to the Canna-Moms.
Yes, Canna-Moms.
Yes, absolutely. As you should. That's great. That's a great idea.
Thank
you. What is it called?
CannabisMomBoss.com.
CannabisMomBoss.com. Check out CannabisMomBoss.com.
Yes.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much.
Anytime, love. I appreciate
you. Oh my gosh. This is like, I manifested this.
People function better when they're high.
Hey, baby gorgeous. Welcome to Bravo and Blaze, where we're going to get lit off all the latest happenings going on in the Bravo TV world. This is a safe and uncensored space to discuss our love for everything 420. So grab your canna goodies and let's get lit. All right, perfect. Hi, everyone. Today we have Danielle Simone Brand, cannabis journalist and author of Weed Mom, the Canna-Curious Woman's Guide to Healthier Relaxation, Happier Parenting, and Chilling the Fuck Out. Hi, Danielle. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's going to be so much fun.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited for this. I've been following your page. I've seen your book. Sorry, I'm not like a big book reader. I do audio.
Yeah.
So I usually, the things that I am listening to are like business, entrepreneur, leadership, self-improvement, like that kind of stuff. But I've been following you along. I am all about your message, the Weed Mom. I am one. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you got started and where Weed Mom came from?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. I love talking about this subject, obviously. I talk about it a lot. My book is called Weed Mom. And so that's basically all I talk about these days is cannabis and moms. So it came about because, I was a skeptic. I was not a cannabis lover until I was in my mid-30s and my kids were like 3 and 6 and I was just going about my life. And, so I discovered it as a wellness tool because I was going through a transition in my life and my career and, kind of at a loss for how I was like going to be contributing into the world with these little kids who needed me at the time, trying to find my sense of identity, trying to recover my health after all the, pregnancy and breastfeeding and not sleeping.
Yes.
all that stuff that so many moms exactly are familiar with. And, so I was breaking into freelance writing. I had been an academic, and then I had been a yoga teacher. And then I decided that I wanted to pivot to freelance writing. And I was living in California, ended up getting some assignments about weed before I even gave a damn about it.
Oh, wow.
And then as I learned and interviewed people about how much it had helped them, I was like, oh gosh, I was missing the boat here. There's something more to this.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah. So then I just started experimenting more, cautiously on my own, and got on my yoga mat with like a low dose vape and,
That.
realized just how beautiful it was and how much moms could benefit. And so it was just from there that I started learning and writing and becoming a real enthusiast and advocate.
That is amazing. I just love that. I feel like so many women out there can relate to being a Canna mom, and my journey is kind of similar. I was a recreational user when I was young. I stopped when I became a mom for the first time. Like, I was like, no, I cannot do this. This is not it's not legal at that time, and I just didn't want to have anything to do with it. But then I was on prescription medication. I have my health coach certification. I am a 200-hour hot yoga instructor. Like, I have a similar, like, I'm just looking for like, what is the best for my wellness, and prescription medications was not what I wanted for my own health. And I switched. I was able to get off all my meds from microdosing with weed. And because it was the first time I looked at it from that lens versus looking at it recreationally. And so that opened up everything for me. And luckily I'm in New York, so it wasn't fully legal until just recently, but I've been able to have my journey through this time of a lot of change in, legislation and reform and everything. So it's a very exciting time for me. What I started to do was, I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to break the stigma. I wanted to change our culture. I don't like the judgment that people have. I mean, moms, we have so much on our plate. I mean, it's like a never-ending job. But then to have people, the other moms at school, your kids, friends, moms judging you is just the last thing you absolutely need. And so that was like what really sparked me. And then I was like, well, I have all this professional experience. I know who I am. Like, how do I do this? And so the first place I went to was Instagram. And I noticed that I was shadow banned. I've had like 3 different accounts already, but this one has been doing the most, my BravoAndBlaze. And I got the most traction, I think. But how do you, as a writer, people who are trying to use like their free digital marketing or whatever, how do they start doing that without being penalized or, with all of our social media platforms? My TikTok right now, it says account warning.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It is a nonstop problem for people in this industry, for Canna creators. And it's funny that you bring it up now, because we're going to be talking about it this Sunday, that specific issue, censorship for cannabis creators and ways around it on Clubhouse. Good. Yeah, the Sunday with the Cannamom High Society. So, the thing is, it changes all the time. And so like what's okay today in terms of cannabis content is not going to be okay tomorrow. So you have to like stay on top of it, just like so, minutely, moment to moment. These days I'm most active on Instagram. And so I've kind of gotten a sense of what you can and can't do there, but then it's still a crapshoot. Yeah, I'll be honest. Yes. But, don't write out the full name cannabis. Don't write out the full name weed. You can use little symbols. Obviously you've seen that. The like 2 smoke emojis with 2 plant emojis, that's code, but I think that's getting like flagged more too now.
What about weed OUID? That's what I've been using.
Well, yeah, that originated on TikTok, I think. And I think it's banned there now.
It's banned on TikTok?
I think, but I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not as active on TikTok, but I've heard people say like, oh, we have to get away from that OUID now.
I literally I made all my mistakes early on with like my first couple accounts. But with this account, I've been purposely not using anything cannabis related. I mean, I use like Wake and Bake, but I'm even scared to use that because I'm like, I don't want to, like, I'm not trying to break the rules. I literally, and it's so funny because we're seen as rule breakers, right? Because we like weed and like, oh, it's not completely legal. And it's like, no, I actually really want to follow the law. I want to follow everyone's rules. I mean, that to me is structure. I crave and thrive off of structure. So for me to be in this space, I'm just like, it's so aggravating. Like, just tell me what the rules are. I don't know.
That's the thing. It's not clear and it changes and it seems inconsistent across, different creators. Like there are some creators who can get away with blowing smoke clouds all the time and bongs and, pictures of all sorts of weed related things. And some people who just cannot, and like they get flagged right away. I've been deleted. My account has been deleted. And also individuals, have a lot of power. Like if somebody doesn't like you or your message, they can just report you.
That's awful. Even non-weed accounts, like Bravo accounts, they get reported by people when, like, if I say I like a certain housewife and somebody doesn't like it, they'll report accounts for that. And so like, even it's happened to so many of, my peers, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so out of control.
It really is. I don't get it. I mean, not to get too political, but like there's so much crap that flies like no problem,
I know. Do you watch Bravo at all, by the way?
Oh, I'm not.
It's okay if you don't. I'm not offended at all. And I don't work for them. So in fact, I think they don't like me because of my Bravo and Blaze, like, whatever. Like they actually, that Bravo is what helped me, I think, in entering the industry, because I was able to find something that I love already that's not related to cannabis, but I was able to use that in a way to bring it back to what my values are, what my mission is. For anyone who's, trying to enter the cannabis industry, I mean, do you have any advice for them? How do we do that? If, let's say I'm not a writer, but I don't know, love horses. I don't know. I feel like with the cannabis industry becoming more legal and we're going through this period of change, I see from an entrepreneur lens, so many opportunities. Like I just see it endlessly. And that's what gets me excited about this. I mean, that's secondary. The first thing that, drives me is my passion for my own story, how it affected me, what I see with social injustice. I mean, there's so many reasons, but do you have any advice for people who are trying to enter the cannabis industry?
Gosh, I mean, so it really depends on what area they're looking to enter in, right? There's, obviously directly plant touching, as we say, and then there's, all the sort of information industry around it. And there's ancillary products. People have product-based businesses that aren't, cannabis per se, but are like, accessories or lock boxes or, pretty smoking things for women, that sort of thing. So there are so many possibilities. I think that, like you were saying, finding your passions and marrying them with cannabis is really helpful. Like, yours are obviously Bravo and 420 and that's super cool. Cannabis is becoming big enough and diverse enough to have niches, I guess is what I'm saying. And so, I really appreciate that there's a Canna-Mom niche now. There's actually this whole subset of media and social media accounts, as well as like, more traditional media accounts that are all about exploring the relationships between cannabis and women and moms specifically. So, there is much more ability to like diversify and get niche now. So I think, follow those passions, bring them in, show, as much as you can, your true self, because people want to be your friend. They don't want to be your customer. They want to be your friend. And, so that's what social media is about. It's about creating relationships, creating connections, inspiring people or making them laugh or sharing some information or all of those things. So, that's my best advice. And that is what I try to do. We are thwarted constantly on the platforms, but people still want that content. People are still searching. They're looking for cannabis material. And there's a lot of people still struggling under the stigmas and the stereotypes of prohibition who just want a little validation that, it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think people are looking for these communities where they can find, other like-minded Canna moms. You have your own clubhouse, you said. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do in that group so that people can check it out?
Sure. So it's actually with my friend Bianca from High Society Mama. Are you familiar with High Society Mama?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So it's like her club, her rubric, and I come every week, and she and I are really good friends, and we sort of come up with topics in advance and advertise them. And once a week on Sundays for at least 2 hours, sometimes 3 or 4.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
We chat.
You take pee breaks?
Well, we chat with a bunch of women, and so it's like, we're taking turns talking, and sometimes like I'm
so you mute it.
Yeah, we mute, and I'm parenting, and I'm making breakfast and whatever, and then I unmute. I'm like, oh hey, I agree with that, or let's go down that road.
Cool.
It's cool. Fun. It's a lot of fun, and just everything that affects Canna-Moms. So we have different topics like cannabis and relationships, cannabis and health and well-being, how cannabis helps moms with parenting, just all sorts of different topics. And this weekend, like I said, it's the social media one because it's an issue we're all dealing with.
It is. And one thing, when I decided, okay, I am going to make a career in the cannabis industry, I didn't know where to really turn to. I didn't know what I was doing, but one of the things that was really important to me, I have a blended family, and I have 4 children. So there's the family custody dynamic that always made me the most worried. Like losing your children probably is the biggest fear that women have. And so for me, I was trying to just, okay, that's my fear. Let me pick it apart. Let me see, okay, what am I most afraid of? Maybe my stepdaughter's mother is going to say something, or, whatever. So I made sure I took little steps to make sure that I was not putting myself in a situation where somebody could, and maybe it's not anyone in my family, maybe it's the neighbor who calls CPS on me. I wanted to make sure that I was prepared to handle any kind of confrontation from them so that I felt confident to say, I am not doing anything wrong. And I challenge you, CPS or whoever. I mean, I don't challenge them for real. Don't come after me. But I mean, I wanted to make sure that I put all those things in place to ensure that no one can really say anything. I'm not doing anything illegal. I am not putting my children in harm. My children are well taken care of. Where do you think or what do you recommend for women to keep themselves safe when, in this situation? Because we're all, as a Canna mom, our children, any mom, our children are our most important thing, So what do you hear from most people on how to protect themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. Across the country, it varies so widely because of the, really different layers of legal access and, attitudes. Like I know a lot of California moms who are like, yeah, I'm not afraid of, any major repercussions here, but some of them still can't even be open, like their teachers or, because of their job. And then, ranging all the way from completely in the closet, in the green closet Canna moms who are like, I cannot tell a soul because I'm terrified that it will affect my, my custody or something like that.
Right.
So it really just, it depends. I have a section in the book on like how to determine how open you can be basically about your use, and really depends on your state, your job, your co-parenting situation. Like you had mentioned, that's definitely an issue for a lot of people, thinking about how an ex or, an ex-spouse will see the situation. But generally good practices are keep your cannabis in a lockbox at home. That's just a good thing. Keeping kids safe that way, educating kids to, understand cannabis, to be respectful of it, model responsible use in your own home, obviously, like modulate your dose and your intake when you're parenting, clearly, because to me, cannabis is about, when it comes to my parenting, it's about helping me tune in better, not just like numbing out, like, oh gosh, I can't handle this, I need to, but like, how do I consume and then engage even better with my family, with my kids?
Yes.
So, those sorts of things I think are really helpful. Just educating people in our lives as much as we can, as much as we feel comfortable with. My book is a resource that I hope, I know actually lots of moms use to say like, hey, look, the science says that, this is nourishing my endocannabinoid system, and in the right amounts is actually healthy for me, that sort of thing. But, we're in this, we're still pushing the boulder up the hill. On this issue, I think.
It's a tough one. And it's sad for me. Like, I think that's what my passion comes from. Like, I don't want a woman to feel like she can't be honest about who she is or authentic to who she is because of judgment. That is like completely warped from our history and prohibition and everything. But sorry, you're in California, right?
So I was in California when I started writing about cannabis, but I moved to Idaho. So I live in the state.
So how is the culture there? Do you have any local people that you connect with in the Canna-Mom community at all?
There are some. So there is a movement here to legalize, and I'm part of that movement. So, some of us are out here trying, even in a place like this. The truth is that, Idaho is surrounded by legal states, and Canada, is our northern neighbor, federally legal. And so there's actually a lot of access for people who live in Idaho in all directions.
But
there's not, I'm not going to say no, but there's not a lot of political will to actually change things here. Unfortunately. But I do have a small cannabis community that I know. We moved here a few months before the pandemic started. So honestly, it's been a weird moment to move to a new place, and to move to a place where there is no legal weed when I am clearly a Canna-Mom advocate. It's like a weird chapter, but that's life. And we won't live here forever.
Idaho. Sorry, that's just a little my Bravo side coming out. So what's in your future? Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? Are you going to continue writing? Are you going to scale? What's your plan?
I'm a writer. That's my main thing. And I've been doing a lot of podcasts and media and stuff in the last year. And I do enjoy doing that. I was actually shocked by how much I like talking about it.
Right?
It's fun.
I love a mic.
I know.
I have a condition. It's called loving a microphone too much. Like, don't bring me to karaoke if you want to sing, because I will sing the whole time.
I love it. And I'm more of a reserved person, honestly, but it's been really fun to be out there and to be talking about the subject that I'm passionate about and that I see the real need for. So for now, I'm going to keep talking. I freelance about cannabis and other subjects too, but mainly cannabis these days. I recently, had some pieces in Women in Weed magazine. Do you see?
I was going to ask you, I did see that you were published in there. Is there they don't come out every month, right? It's like a quarterly thing.
It's, I think twice a year right now.
Because the first time I saw Women in Weed at Barnes and Noble, I was like, are you kidding me? And I got so excited. But then I was like, at that time, Googling it, and there was only 1 or 2 editions, and I was so bummed about it. Do you know them? Like, I want to work with them and help them have a publication every month.
So it's published by Centennial Media, which is a pretty big publishing company. They have a bunch of magazines, but it's funny. Their web presence is really crappy. It's like the distribution is great. You can find it at Whole Foods and Target and Noble and Albertsons and places like that. I found it in the randomest stores.
Yeah.
And even in Canada. My mom lives in Canada, but yeah, when you Google it, it's like, what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the editor. I can connect you if you're interested. Yeah.
Oh my God, I would love to work with them. That would be amazing. Actually, that's kind of what I decided that I'm going to do with my journey. BravoAndBlaze was a way for me to find a niche to like enter the industry. But from here, I'm going to be teaching others, taking all my personal and professional experiences. I worked for, I was an IT consultant for 15 years, and I worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers, Accenture, Capgemini, these very big consulting firms. And my last role, I helped grow the business from a little over 70 million to over 200 million when I left. So I also have my health coach certification, my yoga certification. I'm taking all of those things. I'm kind of like, it's kind of like how you describe it, intersectional. I'm like taking professional development and, for CannaMoms and creating a program for them so that they can learn how to enter the cannabis industry, how they can feel confident in speaking about it, and in doing so in a professional way where, because I know what's on the other side. I know the corporate life. And I know what we're up against. So I want to help, fellow CannaMoms learn how to navigate those waters and figure out how they can, make a difference.
Yeah. Well, there's a real need for that because I see so many, specifically female women entrepreneurs in the cannabis space who have like big plans and maybe great products, but the business side of it is tough. And you're right. We're up against, MSOs, multi-state operators that have millions of dollars in products, product recognition. So yeah, I see that as a real need, actually.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it because I feel like I'm literally just figured this out like in the last couple of weeks. I almost have it finished. I've been nonstop, literally at my daughter's softball game last night. When she was not playing, I was in my Evernote on my phone, just creating the content. I'm so ready to go. And I think the reason why I'm so excited about it is because it's not just about me. It's about all CannaMoms out there, or any woman actually, or any parent, anyone who who knows the injustice of cannabis in our country, the history, and who wants to make a change, and so that our daughters don't have to feel ashamed for using cannabis or exploring cannabis during the different phases of their life when they're starting to have children. How does that play into their life? Like pregnancy and cannabis is a huge question I get. That's the number one question. And I know there's people out there working on it, and it's a pretty tough topic, but it's still good to have that community, to have people out there talking about it, whether, you're on one side or the other. And then also postpartum. I mean, the different phases we go through as women is insane. And after having all these kids, I'm like, I cannot believe that our culture and society has sustained this long without women just riding all over the place. So for me, it's like for a bigger picture, I want to empower others so that they can become, the next teacher, or maybe we're partners in a huge business that we, dominate in the country or globally, or maybe I can teach someone to start and then they wind up leading me and you or something, so I just want to do something bigger than, just for myself. So That's why
I agree so much. I mean, you said the word empowerment. And for me, that's what it's about. Like, that's what my book, my mission, my platform is about. It's about moms empowerment. Like, it's okay to, experiment with this plant medicine for your health and well-being. And, so many moms that I've spoken to, like you, said, I was able to pull back from pharmaceuticals or get off them entirely, or, get into, a better relationship with my body, or, just get guided my mind so that my daily tasks are, accessible and doable. All those things, like there are huge benefits, and I want moms to feel empowered to, to experiment with. If you start low, go slow with clean cannabis, it's very, very low risk. And that's not, we haven't been taught that, so.
Yeah, not many people, it surprises me, the lack of I mean, it doesn't surprise me because I didn't know until, the last few years, but it's wild when you tell somebody like a fact about cannabis that they didn't know. And they're like, wait, what? You can make plastic out of hemp?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, you can.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. There's so many ways. Like if I had my way and people would buy this book, my next book would be about like how hemp and cannabis can save the world, because
God, yes. Please write that.
So many ways. It's, it's not just about the consumption side, even though that's super important, and it's medicine, it's, it's wellness, it's, relaxation for so many of us. And like, there's the materials side of it. There's what hemp can do for the environment, and, just to solve some of our crises right now. So I would love to write that book. I don't know if my agent is going to go for it, but we'll
Who's
see.
your agent? I'll email them.
I'll tell you, from bookends.
No, there's so much on that topic. I mean, so when I first started, my journey is like so all over the place. Like, I've been nonstop for like the last 4 years trying to figure out where is my place in this industry. And so at first I was looking at, well, maybe I like e-commerce. Let me look into that a little bit. And I started looking at drop shipping, and I wanted to, for me, the most important thing was staying authentic and sticking with my values and my mission. And I was like, okay, well, e-commerce, like, how does that really fit in? Maybe I can sell hemp clothing. I love clothing, obviously. Everyone needs clothes. And hemp it'll help our environment, indirectly, by people starting to consume more hemp clothing. And so I started doing the research. There aren't any hemp manufacturers in the US because of our laws. And like, our prohibition has really created this landscape where we don't even have the infrastructure to plant weed once it's legal. Like, we need reform. And so there's so many things. It's like, I'm passionate.
Yes.
I don't know what else I can say. I don't know how else to explain it. I'm like sweating right now thinking about it.
I love it. Yes, I am passionate too, because, I have experienced firsthand how transformative cannabis can be. Like, it sounds like, I think to people who don't really understand or haven't had that benefit from it, it's hard to wrap their heads around, but it is so beneficial for me. And so like, I'm passionate too. Like, I know, okay, I feel that women have a particular like special relationship with the plant, and I just, keep spreading that information and get women more aware of possibilities here.
Yes. I did read some study that women, the hormones in our body, we actually are able to have a higher tolerance, I believe. Have you heard that?
I have read that. Yeah.
I think that's wild.
Our tolerance changes like with our cycle too.
Yes.
So
God, I think that's wild and fascinating, amazing. Like, it bothers me too that because it's federally illegal still, or I don't know, is it decriminalized? Whatever, it's illegal. It's not fully legal yet. But the fact that it's not legal, that prevents, there's so many extra hurdles. Like, we can't get funding for research to figure out like, well, how can it help with these certain conditions in people, or how can it help in, with children or at low doses and maybe not THC. I don't know. Like there's so many things that we need to know and that we're not able to even learn because of the lack of funding, because of what our government has done. So I'm going to stop talking about that because I'm sweating on my leg.
Yeah, no, it's we're in a state, that's for sure. But things are slowly changing. There is some movement at the federal level. I think it's going to take a few more years before we actually get there. There might be some movement on banking first.
Yes, I would love to see that. I'm always like, I celebrate every single tiny movement that's forward. I get pumped. I'm a little bit on the skeptical side sometimes. You know how there's always people are like, it's never going to happen. And you got those, and then other people are like, no, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So like, I go kind of back and forth, but I'll celebrate any single win. And banking, I think, is going to be huge because when I go to the dispensary, I have to use cash every time. And that's so ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
There's digital currency now, and cannabis has to use paper cash. Like it's ridiculous.
Sure. Well, the best way to find out what I'm up to is on Instagram at Danielle Simone Brand. I usually put in my stories whatever events I'm doing. I do a couple of weekly shows, actually, one on Sundays and one on Wednesdays, and constantly coming out with the new events for CannaMoms. So that's just a great way to keep in touch. And then my book is available on any place basically that you buy your books with a big A that I don't have to say, as well as if people want to support their local bookstores, they can always go in and ask them to order it, which is lovely for the bookstore and nice for authors too.
That would be great. Well, thank you so much for being here. I will include all the links to your social media and where to get your book in the show notes. Thank you again. I really appreciate you coming on. Sorry, I'm so wild.
No, you're so much fun. Thank you, Jenny. I love it.
Make sure you subscribe to Bravo and Blaze on your favorite podcast platform, YouTube, and your favorite social media platforms. I'm mostly active on Instagram, but I have pretty much all of them. And if you're interested in being a guest or a sponsorship for the next season of Bravo and Blaze, please reach out. Like I mentioned earlier, make sure to sign up for the Cannabis Mom Boss updates for all new community events, programs, workshops, retreats, partnerships, etc. that we'll be bringing you in the upcoming months. Link in the show notes, or you can go to cannabismomboss.com. Also, if you are local to the Capital District area in upstate New York, make sure to follow Capital District CannaMoms on Instagram. I have created a new account for local events, and once I am free of childcare duties, I am able to work full time, and I'm going to be hitting the pavement and partnering with amazing local businesses to bring you in-person events. Hello, amazing. So stay tuned. Also, if you want to be involved in my mission to empower other women in the cannabis industry and want some one-on-one mentorship, please reach out to me for an opportunity as a Cannabis Mom Boss intern.